He takes the timeout. They're out of timeout. Technical foul. Technical foul.
The ball is tipped. One Shiny Podcast.
Yes.
We did it. College basketball is back. I'm Tate Frazier. Mark Titus sitting across from me. Titus.
We're here.
We got a podcast feed.
We have a podcast feed called One Shining Podcast, and the response to the new name, Tate.
Not so great.
Not so great. Not so great. People want to know, why you changed the name? Teed Up was cool. Why did we change it from Teed Up? Answer number one,
yes.
No one knows how to spell Teed Up.
No.
We get the...
they spelled like a golf tee.
They spelled like
we
a golf
saw that.
tee, yeah. And it was confusing. It was like, how do I find this thing? We don't know what's going on here.
And not only that, they couldn't even search it in iTunes because it was on its own separate...
Right.
It didn't have its own feed
More
yet.
importantly, here's why we changed the name. It's a way to now figure out who were the original fans of our podcast.
Yes.
Because when Tate and I become super famous talking about college basketball on the internet, and we become...
Strictly the internet.
Yes. And we just
Nowhere
blow
else.
up, and then people come up to us on the street and harass us, and they're like, hey, I'm a huge fan of One Shining Podcast. We wouldn't have known, you know, like who's the original fan, who's not. Now you switch the name. Someone can come up and be like, hey, I'm a Teed Up. I've been a fan since Teed Up days. And then we're like, oh, shoot, you're like a real fan then.
Well, it's like if you're Kareem, right? And someone
Right.
comes up to you and they're like, I'm a big fan of Lou Alcindor. You're like,
Right,
wow,
yeah.
you must have known
That's
me
how
before
you know your
I
stuff.
figured this
Yeah,
whole thing
wow,
out. Yeah.
You really know your stuff. So
Yep.
we changed the name. It's just a little brand thing. I mean, like, you know, this is
It's
just
all branding. Like,
it's just
go
like-
ask Calipari. It's
unless
all about
you're in the
branding.
industry, honestly, unless you're in the industry, you probably don't get it.
Don't
But
care.
like those of us in the industry, this is a big deal. These are big moments for us.
So let's break this down. We got capital J journalist, Mark Titus, Tate Frazier. We're going to talk about college basketball all season long. And everyone does previews, right? We've seen all this. Everyone has previews. They tell you who's going to be first team, second team, third team, who's going to be the coach of the year, all this BS.
Yep.
We're going to do our own top 25 teams, and it has nothing to do with the actual best 25 teams.
What is our criteria? The answer is we don't really know.
And maybe you'll figure it out. That's what we're
happened
hoping.
was Tate and I sat in a room and we were like, what are the 25 teams that you're most interested in? And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, I don't really know what I mean. Let's just hash out like 25 teams we like. So some of them are good, some of them not so good, but the one thing they have in common is that they are all basketball teams.
And they're all colleges.
And they're all at colleges. So do you want to get started?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we're going to split this up into two pods. Today we're doing 25 to team number 11. So then tomorrow we're going to release the top 10. Yeah.
Really
that's
well
it.
thought out stuff here. One Shining Podcast. It's all happening.
So let's get started, dude.
Yeah. First team. And this is great. I mean, it just makes me happy to say the name. And that's the Pittsburgh Panthers.
The Pitt Panthers.
The old Big East is back, and they're in our top 25.
The big question for Pitt this year is, are they the worst power conference team in the country? What is your answer?
The answer is yes, and it's an unequivocally yes. And you know why? Kevin Stallings is still their head coach, right? That has not changed. He's still their head coach.
That's one thing.
Kevin Stallings is here.
We're talking
still.
about the difference between Teed Up and One Shining Podcast. There's not a lot of differences. We still love Kevin Stallings. We still love the fact that Kevin Stallings is. I saw in an interview he said this is his first year. That's how he's spinning it. He didn't say this is my second year at Pitt. He's like, this is really my first year. They have like 12 new guys or something like that.
Yeah, they have 10 guys.
10 new guys.
10 new guys. Have you ever heard of it? It's like he basically was corralling people on the streets to see if they wanted to play basketball at Pitt. I read every interview of the players on Pitt because there's a lot of Kevin Stallings interviews out there, not a lot of player interviews. All the players, they're like, I just want people on campus to know who I am. Every time I tell them that I'm a Pitt basketball player, they don't believe me. And poor Kevin Stallings is loving it. He's had a great year. He was at the Pittsburgh Penguin games. He was been at every Pittsburgh event that's
his
happened.
son got called up to the Pirates.
Yes.
His son was in the majors for, I don't know if he's still
Jacob Stallings, for people that don't know.
He was at a football practice, at a Pitt football practice, and they had someone took a picture of him punting a football. He at ACC Media Day, he spun two basketball. He did the thing where he's spinning balls on each finger. Probably middle fingers. I wasn't really paying that close of attention.
Absolutely.
Probably,
just for the people.
So Kevin Stallings is living his best life, and he's going to win. I mean, if he wins 2 ACC games, is that success for him this year?
Absolutely. So there's only been one other team that's gone 0-18. Well, not 0-18, but that's gone completely defeated. No wins in conference ever in ACC since 1987. And Kevin Stallings can make history, Titus. And I think he should just buy into it.
Who was the team?
It was, I don't even remember.
That's what he should go for.
It was Boston College.
It was Boston College?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was the year Boston College. They lost their football team lost every game. Their basketball team lost every game. So one little thing I had in my notes. Pitt was 312th in America in turnover margin last year.
Okay.
They have no point guard this year.
Yes.
The guy that they're going to have play point guard is a freshman who's shoot first. So we're talking about a team that turns the ball over a ton, and their answer to solve their turnover woes from last year is to bring in a shoot first freshman point guard. Tate, what could possibly go wrong?
A lot. And let's be honest, a lot went wrong last year. For people that forget, this is a favorite thing. People forget. They lost by 55 points to Louisville last year. And Levance Fields, for people that don't remember Levance Fields, he's from like 2009 Pittsburgh squad.
Yeah.
He tweeted all this stuff about Kevin Stallings wanting to get rid of him and everything. And I don't know how they can go any lower.
Did you go into Levance Fields' history and see if you want to get rid of it? He's a Jamie Dixon guy, so he probably didn't want to get rid of Dixon. But I feel so bad for the Pitt fans that want to get rid of Jamie Dixon and got stuck with this. This is like a lesson in wanting your coach fired.
The grass isn't always greener.
Learn your lesson from this. Yeah, the grass is not always greener. So I do feel bad for Pitt fans. I like Pitt as a program. I want Pitt to succeed. But Kevin Stallings is fun.
Absolutely.
The Kevin Stallings era at Pitt is the gift that keeps on giving.
So for people that haven't listened to Teed Up, Kevin Stallings loves softball. We learned this last year. You told some great stories about him playing softball, but I have a great little tidbit about their team. So one of their best players this year, his name is Jared Wilson Frame. There are two names in baseball that come to Wilson is the gloves that a lot of people use, the Wilson A2000, and when a catcher frames a pitch. So
that's high quality research, Tate. Good job.
Kevin Stallings is going to kill it with this kid. This is going to be his favorite player. I can't wait. Hopefully he doesn't actually kill him like he said he was going to do at Vanderbilt that time. But it's going to be a really fun season. I can't wait for Stallball.
So a successful season at Pitt is don't be the worst team and don't be the worst power.
Don't go 0-18.
Don't go 0-18. That's what we're shooting for. But it's going to be a fun ride. We're gonna have our eye on Pitt all year. Good luck.
Put your hashtag out there.
Yes, hashtag Stallball. That's my hashtag.
It was 2017 Crean.
27 Crean. It was last year.
It was beautiful.
I just think there should be like a hashtag so you can keep like tabs on all the things going on at Pitt, going on with Kevin Stallings. Like, I don't know. Like when he's punting a football at practice, I want to know about this. And I need like a hashtag to have everything. So I don't know. Stallball was my idea. I don't know.
It's Carmelo Anthony's dream offense. Stallball. Should we move on? Should we go to 24?
Let's go on.
Yeah, all right. 24. And this isn't even a team.
This is a concept that I brought up.
It's definitely a concept.
Like 3 years ago was the Big 12 is like the best conference in basketball in the sense that the worst team can beat the second best team, but they never beat Kansas. No one ever beats Kansas. The only team that beat Kansas are Oklahoma State and Iowa State.
Yep.
That's it.
Every single year.
The only teams that ever
sometimes there's a little Kansas State in there, which is like a
Kansas
shocking,
State gets
or they
like
blow it. They have a huge lead in Manhattan and they blow it.
But that's it. So, but the point is, like, all the Big 12 teams are like as good as each other, and we know Kansas is going to win. We don't know who the second best Big 12 team is. Yeah. So, that's who we have at 24 is the second best Big 12 team. And Tate and I disagreed on who the second best Big 12 team is because that's how Big 12 basketball works is no one can ever agree on who the second best Big 12 team is. So we're going to hash it out here.
So we had a little joke.
And we're going to go through every team.
Every single
in the Big 12 and try to figure out which one is the second best.
All right, so we did this thing last year. Kansas has won it, now 14 years in a row, right?
I don't know.
It's a long time. So basically, I went back since the last time that Kansas lost, and that was since 2000, right? Since they didn't win, or I think it was 2001. Texas won it 5 times. Oklahoma's won it 4 times. Texas A&M got it 1 year. These are all second place. This time they were in second. Iowa State got it 1 year. Missouri, West Virginia, Baylor. TCU never, but that's how many teams have finished. Like they've finished second to Kansas in the Big 12. So that's how many teams are in play. So first up,
like I said, all the teams are in play. So I'm gonna go. I'll throw them out there. This is my order of worst to first.
Okay.
We're gonna start with Oklahoma State. They basically are Jeffrey Carroll, who averaged like 18 points a game last year. They bring back nobody else. They lost Phil Forte and Jawan Evans.
Yep. Jawan Evans now on the Clippers. Phil Forte probably running a camp somewhere.
They're going to suck. They got the FBI thing hanging over them. Mike Boynton, who played at South Carolina, is their coach. He's 35 years old. Oklahoma State, what are your thoughts?
They lost their coach. That's a problem, right? And then basically at this point, they're going to go in the downtrodden. Basically, Oklahoma State not in play, in my opinion.
Not in play. They should they have hired Doug Gottlieb is the burning question. Gottlieb wanted the job so badly. I couldn't tell if it was like shtick, like I was doing with Duquesne, but he wanted the job badly and didn't get it. And I hope someday to see Doug Gottlieb coach Oklahoma State. My second worst team, Texas Tech. Do you think they're going to be the second best? You don't think that's
No.
not your take? Okay.
No.
Stop me if I say
I'm
you think they're second.
I'm axing all these people until we get into
Here's
the
my
real
question for
realm
you.
of
Do you know who
possibility.
Texas Tech's coach is?
No.
Nobody does.
Is it Bobby Knight?
Nobody
Or
does.
is it his
So
son?
here's the thing. The guy's name is Chris Beard. He was
Yeah.
the coach last year.
Oh, I do remember
2
Chris
years ago,
Beard.
he was at Little
Yeah.
Rock. I looked up on his Wikipedia. Let's do a little Wikipedia rundown. You ready for this?
Yes.
He went to Texas when Tom Penders was the coach of Texas.
Okay.
His Wikipedia says he was the student assistant at Texas when he was an undergrad. That's the fanciest way I've ever heard anyone say he was a manager. Like, he was wiping up sweat and filling up water bottles, and they called him a student assistant. Good for him. He then, after he graduated, went to Incarnate Word and was an assistant coach, was an NAIA school. He was there for a year. He went to Abilene Christian and was an assistant school, which was Division II. He was a North Texas assistant for 2 years. He gets the head job at a community college for 1 year in Kansas. Then goes to
Was
another.
it Kansas Junior Community College? That's
It
what we
was,
said we were going to call a conference.
It was,
if Kansas won again, and they did.
He then goes to a JUCO in Oklahoma for a year. And then he's a Texas Tech assistant for 10 years.
This is like the Odyssey.
No, I'm telling you, like, stop me when you've heard of school that he's coached at that you've heard of. He gets the head job at the South Carolina Warriors, a semi-pro ABA team. That was an expansion team.
Love that.
I'm sure you know about the South Carolina Warriors. He goes to
That's like the Wilmington Sea Dogs.
He's there for a year. He goes to McMurray, a Division III school in Texas for a year. By the way,
I thought it was going to be Murray State at this point, but I guess not. He's still climbing.
Then he goes to Angelo State, a Division II school, for 2 seasons in Texas.
Okay.
Then he goes to Little Rock for 1 year, and they win like 30 games and get like a 9 seed or whatever it was. And no, they got like a 12 seed. And they won 1 NCAA tournament game.
Exactly.
And then he got hired at Texas Tech. So long story short, this dude has like never had a job for more than 2 years. Never had a head job for more than 2 years. He's like coached Division I for like 3 years.
So he's basically the Brad Underwood of not so great programs and just keeps
he just
moving
keeps
up.
like bouncing around. It's like what a life
every
this guy's
year.
living.
Yeah, I like it.
So my next Big 12 team, Iowa State.
Yeah.
They basically lost everybody from their team.
Yeah.
This is probably a rebuilding year. They did get your boy from Virginia, Shayok, who I didn't even know transferred there until
Mario
3 days
Shayok.
ago.
Yep.
That's exciting. But Iowa State probably down year for them.
Yeah, definitely a down year. And like, if Shayok's the guy that we bring up, a guy that Tony Bennett was tired of for taking too many shots, I think that's something that probably is not going to be so great at Iowa State, a young team.
You know what is still on their roster though is Hilton Magic. Hilton Magic, dude. They got the arena.
I was like, whoever that is.
You don't remember Hilton Magic when they beat Iowa like 2 years ago and they stormed the court and the reporter broke his leg?
Oh, yeah. And then everyone was
Seth
like,
Davis
shit,
was on
yeah.
Twitter,
Oh,
like,
yeah. Everyone's very upset.
clutching his pearls,
Yes.
crying, and then comes to find out the reporter tripped over a wire.
So it's the TV crew. It all comes back to the TV crew, not the students.
Yeah, that was awesome. So my next team, so Iowa State's out. A little about Kansas State. Are we getting warmer for you? Kansas State, Bruce Weber, last year it was found out that his parking spot at Kansas State's gym, the sign that said Bruce Weber parking spot was affixed to a trash can, which the symbolism was amazing. People wanted him gone.
Yes.
He had to be gone at the end of the year.
The purple jacket wasn't working.
They almost beat Kansas twice. They did beat Kansas 0 times. And then suddenly they beat Wake Forest in a play-in game. And now Bruce Weber, 2-year contract extension.
So he's 2021 now, right?
He's through 21, yeah.
Congratulations.
Next 4 years.
I'm all about contract extensions for like meaningless games, especially play-in games. It's like our boy Frank Haith getting a contract extension for Tulsa when he had the play-in game a couple years ago. It's the same sort of deal. So I'm congrats to Bruce Weber.
So you're out on Kansas State though?
Yeah, of course.
So
but they've done it twice. They finished second twice. So good for them as a program.
They won it 1 year. Bruce Weber won. He tied. Yeah, he tied with
12,
that's why he's still hanging on. He goes and sits down in those meetings. He's like, I tied for a Big 12 title. You can't tell me anything. Which, by the way, Scott Drew never done that. Remember, yeah.
We should bring this up. Scott Drew.
We're gonna bring. Calm down.
Right.
Calm down.
I just want to talk about Scott Drew.
Get
bad.
yourself a cold, wet rag and just like take
I gotta
a
go
second.
take a cold shower after you brought
Calm
up Scott
down.
Drew.
So Oklahoma is our next team. Is the next
Yeah.
team I have. We're getting closer again to the team I like. The problem with Oklahoma is everything I've read about Oklahoma in the offseason, everything I've seen anybody say about Oklahoma is basically Trae Young is the team, and nobody knows how good Trae Young, who's a 5-star, was he McDonald's All-American?
McDonald's All-American everywhere. And if everyone wants a cotton for him, you know?
Nobody knows how good this guy is.
Yeah.
Everyone says
But he's really good.
He's really, really good. But then he's also
He's a lot like Tyus Jones.
Are we sure he's?
But there's not Justice Winslow and Jaleel Okafor there. You know, it's
he's got
like,
the Tyus Jones thing. Yeah.
He plays like him, but he has nobody else around him. So it's like, okay, Tyus Jones is our best player.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which Tyus Jones
pretty good.
Kind of won the national title for Duke. That's not a bad guy to play like.
I think he's going to be good, and Lonnie's.
But is he good enough to carry a team? Because they lost all the guys from the Buddy Hield era have kind of fizzled out. Like Woodard is out. Is Kadeem Latin back? I don't remember.
Yeah,
Spangler and his sweaty body. He was gone. He was gone last year. All those guys from the Oklahoma team that was really really good have kind of phased out, and they're kind of bringing in the next group. And I don't know, Trae Young. I don't follow recruiting, Tate. You know this. This is a point of pride of mine.
I've watched him play a few times.
Yeah,
I watched him in all the high school, like the McDonald's game, the Jordan game. You know, he's good, but
he's not good enough to get second in the Big 12.
No.
All right, let's move on then. Texas is the next team.
That's the team.
That's your team.
That's the team.
That's your team for second. So we're in range for you. This is it.
This is my team.
This is your team. That's going to get
number
second.
2.
Okay.
This is the bride. This is Mohamed.
We'll make your case. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's the case. So Mohamed Bamba. Everyone saw him, 5-star guy. Shaka's biggest recruit. Everyone's freaking out that he got him to go there. He's going to come in. He's basically like Dwight Howard. There's 2 guys that are basically the Dwight Howard equivalents of this class, where they just completely are going to break a backboard or completely just dominate and get thrown out of a game at some point for just being unbelievable. Ayton's one of those guys. He's ridiculous.
DeAndre Ayton at Arizona.
Yeah.
Who the only thing I know about him is his Twitter profile pictures like
jacked
flexing after he dunked on someone. And
it's ridiculous.
I'm all in on this guy.
It looks sort of like Drummond, like Andre Drummond when he went to UConn, just a min amongst boys.
Like the guy might not even be able to dribble or run straight, but like I saw that picture of him just like.
No, but the big thing about Ayton now, I know we're talking about Arizona at this point, but apparently he can pass out of the post. Like every single headline I see is like DeAndre Ayton knows how to pass out of the post. I was like, oh,
damn,
good for him.
Can Bamba pass out of the post? Is it Bamba or Bamba?
It's Bamba or Bamba. Either one. You decide.
I
say Mohamed Bamba, but I've heard Bamba. I've heard both, but I will say this. Regardless, Shaka Smart, we failed him as media members the past few years. We're supposed to cover him like he's the greatest thing ever.
Right.
You know? And we just haven't done that. We haven't lived up to our expectations.
Have we stopped covering him because he's made one Sweet 16 in his career? Is that why we stopped covering him?
No, Titus, that's not why.
Do you realize that Kevin Stallings has been to 2?
I know. And that's good for Kevin Stallings, but I'm talking about Shaka Smart right now.
I know. I'm giving you perspective on Shaka Smart, the boy wonder. He's been to 1 Sweet 16. Kevin Stallings has been to 2. John Thompson III has been to 2. Let's see what else. Trent Johnson, who even knows what happened to him when he got fired from TCU. He's been to 2.
Kevin Durant said that Texas was going to be great again this year. They've dropped the bag. They've got Bamba. It's going to happen.
Okay, so Texas.
That's the case.
Texas is your team. I was going to talk about TCU. I thought you might like TCU. I think TCU.
I'm so tired
of
the Big 12 already. Like it's unbelievable.
Calm down. The Big 12 is the best conference in basketball. Everyone knows it. All right, so you like Texas. I thought the team you were going to say was TCU, who I had next on my list. When you and I were planning this, you love TCU. What changed, Tate?
Well, I love 2 people in the team, right? It's not really that I love TCU, even though, I mean, Horned Frogs, whatever, they have everything going for them. I love the Slovakian superstar, Vladimir Bladziansky, and that's how he says it. He does say it like that. I'm not saying that like I want to say it like that. That's how he says it. Slovakian superstar himself. And then, of course, Jamie Dixon, who he gets no credit.
Jamie Dixon.
He's the man.
Yeah, he's the yin to the Kevin Stallings yin. I mean, like you can't tell the Kevin Stallings story, which you and I both like to tell, without the Jamie Dixon part, how he goes to TCU, takes him to the NIT title last year, brings back like his entire team this year, and now like everyone's expecting him to go to the tournament for the first time in 20 years. That's, weird.
That's weird. That's weird. Wait, what? It's always the darkest before the dawn, but like now it's the other day, you know? Kevin Stallings is taking it all the way through the night.
The one thought I had about TCU is that last year, like the way the last 2 years have gone for TCU is like a perfect example of why the NIT still matters. Like that's a perfect case study for like why we should keep the NITs. You take a team like TCU with the new coach, they got a little bit of talent, they're sort of figuring it out. They win the NIT, they get that postseason experience, they get all those extra practices, and now they're coming back this year and they're gonna do cool things. So like a lot of college basketball fans are like, why do we even have the NIT? What's the point? It should be national championship or anything. And I kind of agree with that, but at the same time, TCU is why. TCU this year, when they start playing well and they, have Kansas down by 5 with like 3 minutes left and then ended up losing by 7. Like that sort of thing that's going to happen this year. You're going to be like, oh, TCU is pretty good. I wonder why. And it's because, Yeah, the NIT.
And that goes to like the pure part of college basketball I think that people forget exists. Because like it is good to play in a tournament. Like it's fun for a team to play in a tournament and go on the road and travel and be together.
Coaches don't forget that exists. They love those extra practices. They'll do anything for extra practices. They would sell their families away if they could get them like 3 extra practices than everyone else. They love those extra practices. So the team that I have listed as the number 2 team in the Big 12
official number 2
is the team I'm wearing by the way, for those of you you're listening on the podcast, I'm wearing my Jerry West Virginia shirt as we're recording this podcast.
The Clippers own Jerry West.
The West Virginia Mountaineers. Country roads,
press Virginia
to the place. So
God, that's one.
I rewatched when we were getting ready for this podcast. I rewatched The Last Possession against Gonzaga.
Tough, ugly,
not good, not good. I'm all in on West Virginia though, getting second. They could. I honestly believe they could tie Kansas for the Big 12 title this year.
You know what's crazy is that they were the only time they finished in second in they haven't been in the Big 12 long, but it was last year. It's 15-16. They finished second.
They finished second 2 years in a row, dude. They finished second last year and the year before.
No.
Yeah.
Baylor finished second last year.
I thought there was like a 30-way tie.
No. Well, it might have been a tie. It might have been a tie. But I just remember Baylor.
A lot of ties in the Big 12.
So much Big 12 basketball.
The Big 12 is the one true champion. Wasn't that their thing? Like we have and then they ended up tying
literally everyone.
They're the conference of ties. So West Virginia, best turnover margin in the country last year.
Wonder why.
Javon Carter, because they fouled the shit out of everybody. Javon Carter, Defensive Player of the Year, the country last year, because he fouled. Like, listen, I'm not degrading West Virginia. It's a genius strategy. Like college basketball refs are terrible.
Yeah.
Just foul the shit out of everybody. They're not going to call them all.
Call.
Yeah, make them make the call. So I just hope we figure out the offense. Can we please figure out the offense? Can we get like? The Gonzaga possession was so bad.
It was terrible. It haunts me, actually, how, I mean, they literally have nothing to run on offense.
They were up on Gonzaga, on the Gonzaga team that, by the way, should have won the national title last year.
Oh.
West Virginia had them beat. They were up with a minute left. And then remember Jordan Matthews, Gonzaga, he caught the pass at like his ankles and then just like pulled the trigger on the 3. He did the Farouk Manesh last year. Yeah.
And then he switched it and then he made some more threes in the national championship game,
then,
but then they lost.
And then Javon Carter like kind of dribbled around and West Virginia didn't even get a shot off.
Yeah, they kept passing it back and forth.
So that's my team, West Virginia. I think they're going to get second in the Big 12. And those of you listening are probably thinking we left out a Big 12 team. No, we did not. Just calm down. We'll get there in a second.
We have it all mapped out, guys. We have a plan.
Just calm down. So our number 23 team, the Georgetown Hoyas. Tate is very excited about them. Very excited about Patrick Ewing coming back to his alma mater to be a coach. To wear sweatsuits, as Tate said. Yes.
So Patrick Ewing, for people that don't know, he's spent 32 years in the NBA, 17 as a player, 15 as a coach. He was with the Wizards with Michael Jordan. Basically, he's just followed Michael Jordan around for going on 15 years at this point, and even dating back to his days at Georgetown.
He thinks that if he can get his picture taken with Michael Jordan enough, like after their careers, then when you search Patrick Ewing, Michael Jordan, the posterization of Patrick Ewing is not going to show up. It's going to be like all these other pictures of them being older,
like holding each other, like high five and playing golf.
That's his plan, I swear.
Well, he comes back to Georgetown, the one job he would take, the only job he would take in college basketball.
Yep.
And he's getting a lot of interviews right now.
He's going to turn the program around.
It's been 7 months. And I actually said, if you remember on Teed Up, I said that I don't know how long he lasts, but I doubt he lasts a year. And I'm going to throw out some things that are going on with Georgetown right now. Calls for concern with Georgetown, but also to put it out there that, Pat Ewing, he says his coaching style. So you want to know what Pat Ewing, how he's going to coach this team, right? A big gumbo of all of his former coaches, who include Doug Collins, a guy you may know, Jeff Van Gundy, also a guy you may know, and Steve Clifford, a guy you may know.
That's his.
Those are 3 NBA coaches that he's going to go to a college basketball campus and now coach them the way that they coach. Okay, we got it. Makes sense. Let's keep it going. He's been asked. He's like, what does the job entail at Georgetown, being a college basketball coach? What does that mean? He said, it's about 30% coaching. College basketball, which is where...
College basketball coaching is 30% coaching. I love it. He's off to a great start. This is
30%.
This is going swimmingly.
But he's going for the young kids, right?
Yeah.
So we have Monstar Night. So Georgetown has a night where they have an original Monstar.
They're doing a Monstar.
Do you know who the special guest was? He was an original Monstar.
The special guest is Patrick Ewing,
the head coach of the team.
He wasn't going to come to the game, and then they did the event, and he's like, fine, I'll come.
I'll come for the Monstar event. And he just joined Twitter last month. So Patrick Ewing, go look it up. Coach Ewing on Twitter. You can follow and see what he's doing.
Speaking of Twitter, I remember like favoriting this when it happened because I was just so confused by it. But Jeff Goodman tweeted, this I'll just read word for word what he tweeted like over the summer. He said, "How about SID Mex Carey going from Georgetown to Michigan State? Talk about opposite sides of the media spectrum. Those in the industry understand." And I mean, like, Tate and I are in the industry, so we totally understand. But,
yeah, we understand. I get it.
Yeah, I totally get it. I'm sure everybody totally gets it.
Sorry if you don't get it, but maybe get in the industry.
I love that. Something about that tweet was like, those of you understand.
So ridiculous.
Like Jeff Goodman wanted to say something, but he didn't want to say it. I was like,
that was a nice little wink.
Yeah, like,
if you get it, you get it. God, inside jokes are the best.
The other note I had on Georgetown, and we'll move on. Do you remember when Patrick Ewing in the 82 title game, when John Thompson told him to goaltend like every shot
every single
for
shot
the first like 10 minutes of the game?
It was unbelievable. And Carolina was scoring all the
points. How do you feel about that strategy?
James Worthy just kept looking. He was like, okay.
That is a great strategy on paper.
Jimmy Black's like putting up layups.
Yeah.
He's like pinning it. Like it's already hit the backboard. He's like slapping
If you don't know what I'm talking about, go on YouTube. It's definitely on YouTube. Just search like Patrick Ewing 82 title game goaltending. The strategy was you're going to goaltend every shot for like the first 5 to 10 minutes.
He was basically trying to get in
just
their
to
head.
Intimidate him.
So at this point in time, Dean Smith had never won a title. They were really close friends, right? And so he had always lost on the big stage. They had lost in 77 to Marquette. And so the whole point was to get in the heads of the Carolina players so they didn't see a shot go in, so they would freeze up. So he was like, you're going to phase them out. You're going to freeze these guys up. But instead, he gave them like 18 free points.
Right.
And they ended up winning that game on a stupid turnover.
I seriously think like 4 of the first 5 field goals that North Carolina scored were goaltended. So anyway, that's the kind of coaching I'm sure Patrick Ewing's going to carry into Georgetown.
We're excited to hit the shot to haunt Patrick Ewing moving forward in his career. Oh yeah, Michael Jordan in that game to win the national championship.
Ewing ended up winning in '84, didn't he?
Yeah, and then he lost in '85 to Villanova.
Yeah. So our next team is Tate. Tate has a lot of thoughts on these guys. The Northwestern Wildcats, the Duke of the North, the Duke of the Midwest. The team that got screwed against Gonzaga. Let's talk about how they got screwed against Gonzaga. But as we do, let's conveniently leave out the part where the only reason they played Gonzaga is because the Vanderbilt dude fouled them.
They get screwed by. Yeah. Well, they didn't get screwed by Vanderbilt.
They lucked their way into the game against Gonzaga. But we can leave that part out. Let's just talk about how they should have won the Gonzaga game and gone to the Sweet 16.
So this is the first time they're ranked in the AP poll ever in program history.
Are they ranked preseason?
Yeah, number 19 in the country, which is just
the
media darling. And that's the best thing about Northwestern this year, right? Is that they're no longer the media darling. Now they're a juggernaut that like people are worried about.
That's a big thing. You can do it. You can be the hunter, but can you be the hunted, Tate?
Absolutely.
That's what you got to think about.
And so my favorite descriptor, Chris Collins is getting a lot of profiles written about him. A lot of people want to hear about Chris Collins. Nobody wants to talk about Brian McIntosh and all these guys they have 4 starters coming back. They all call him, I don't know if you've seen this, the 34-year-old looking 43-year-old. That's the line.
That's a great line.
That is the big line this year with Chris Collins.
That's terrible.
It's
That's
so
awful.
good. It's so good. I'm loving that. That's the descriptor. And then he has this huge cover, and it says Purple Rain. R.I.P. Prince. And I can't believe that they let this guy take that. I mean, it's so bad. They're not playing at home this season, so he has
they're not playing at home.
Yeah, they have this built-in excuse. They're playing, and I think it's the
Allstate Arena,
yeah,
the DePaul's old place. Yeah. Like out in
a lot of people went.
A
lot of people went to that game. So.
Yeah. I actually like Northwestern. I'm gonna be honest.
God.
This is gonna piss you off, I know, but I think they're a good team, and especially.
I'm not saying. I'm talking about the coach.
Oh.
He's taking all the headlines. The team is great. I like the team. You got Pardon, McIntosh.
If Northwestern beat North Carolina for some, not in the tournament, I guess they would have to play in the tournament. But like hypothetically, if they were playing in the ACC Big Ten Challenge, and Northwestern beat North Carolina, how embarrassed would you be?
Oh, this year?
Yeah,
not embarrassed.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
They're a preseason top 25 team.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like I don't think they're overrated.
No.
I do think the media loves them, but I think there's a reason they should. They bring back 4 starters, right? Yeah.
Yeah, McIntosh is on the Cousy Award
list. Lindsey, Pardon, Vic Law is the defensive stopper. McIntosh might win Big Ten Player of the Year.
And then they have Lindsey, Scotty Lindsey.
Yeah, Scotty. I said him.
Yeah.
Derek Pardon, big dude.
Yeah.
They got a good team.
I just want to say, Chris Collins, the whole PR campaign around him, it's going to be so fun to watch.
He loves Chicago so much. I think
you sent me a picture of him and Doug Collins at a Cubs game.
I went to a Cubs game and Chris Collins threw out the first pitch, and Doug Collins was there wearing his Northwestern pullover. Doug, his dad, was wearing like the Northwestern pullover, and like Doug loves his son. His son loves Chicago. They both love Illinois, Chicago, like the whole scene. He wants to throw out first pitches at Cubs games every year. I don't think he's leaving for Duke. First of all, Capel's getting the job offer anyway.
Of course.
But if Capel, for some reason, like if the FBI, just hypothetically, let's say the FBI went after Capel for some just hypothetical reason. And Capel couldn't take the job.
Capel's going to take a pay cut when he gets a head coaching job.
They're going to offer. They're going to offer it to Collins. I'm not sure Collins would take it. I think he loves Chicago. I think he wants to turn Northwestern into the Duke of the Midwest. And if I was him, I would stick around there. Like he's got, just by what he did last year, he can coach there for the next 15 years and lose every game and not get fired yet.
So Kay's the one that wanted him to go there. That's what he said. It's a job ripe for the taking. Do you want to know what his first job in basketball was after he finished his playing career? Do you know this? People forget.
Job?
The WNBA's Detroit Shack.
Oh, that's right. Was that with Bill Laimbeer?
Yeah. How has Coach K let his guy get to that point? Didn't offer him a job, didn't get him anything, and then he gave him 13 years of sitting next to him with Wojo there.
You only get like 3 spots on the Duke bench. You can't fill it up with like every guy and that wants to get.
So I felt bad for Chris Collins, reading about all of his past and how he's climbed all the way back. So
at number
for you, Chris.
At number 21, another Big Ten team that has high expectations this year, coached by a young guy, the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Yeah.
Bringing back pretty much their whole team. They went from 2 years ago, they won 2 Big Ten games. They were 2-16 in the Big Ten. Last year, they go 11-7 in the Big Ten. You have any thoughts on Richard Pitino?
They were a 5 seed last year, right?
Yeah, they were a 5 seed. They were overseeded. Everyone knew it when it came out. They lost the first round to Middle Tennessee State. Yeah. Everyone knew.
And then Michigan got knocked down and ended up actually helping them out.
Yeah. It was it kind of sucked that they lost in the first round, but at the same time, I think that was like Middle Tennessee actually I think was favored in that game. So was it an upset? That's what we don't know.
We don't know. We believe in mid-majors. Yeah, we're talking about little Pitino, young Pitino. How involved? I just want to ask you this. How involved is Rick Pitino with this program with his son?
He's going to be very involved.
Yeah, he's going to be at everything.
He's going to be Gene Cady. Do you remember when Steve Lavin was at St. John's and Gene Cady was like, you just watch St. John game and Gene Cady's like sitting 3 rows behind the bench and you're not really sure what he's doing. You're just like, is that Gene Cady? And that's going to be Rick Pitino because he can't be involved with the program in any capacity, like officially. He's
just supporting his son.
Like if he gets hired as like even the guy who checks to make sure they go to classes, like.
That'd be great.
That's very.
That'd be my favorite job for Rick Pitino.
He can't have any official title with the team whatsoever.
Hey,
but
Rick,
he's going to be.
Hey, Rick, did Amir Coffey go to class today? Let me tell you about the University of Louisville, the program. Not the board of trustees, the program. He's the best.
He's going to be sitting behind the bench.
I miss Rick already.
Is Rick going to get into coaching again?
He's got to, right? There's like a South Florida job out there, a UCF job out there. He
can't go to Division I?
Come on.
I think he should just go to like what's a school in Minnesota you could coach at like Minnesota State Mankato or something. Like he goes there and that's his thing and he just kind of helps out his son.
There you go.
I just want to remind everybody the sins of the father do not carry over to the son. So even if he taught his son all those sins. even if his son like that was but until we have anything that Richard did, let's just calm down, Tate. I know you're excited over there. You're ready to just start throwing haymakers.
No, I'm having fun. They could win their first Big Ten title since 1997. This is a year that they could actually.
Yeah, it's definitely going to happen when Michigan State's in the conference. That's definitely.
I think they could.
Yeah, okay.
I like Amir Coffey.
Let's move on to number 20. The USC, and as a reminder, this is not how we think the teams are, the talent level of the teams. When we say that the USC Trojans are ranked 20th, we do not mean that they are the 20th best team in the country. We think they're very, very, very good.
They are the 20th most interesting team to you.
We're just saying they're 20th most interesting. Your thoughts? You like these guys?
I like these guys. I like Benny Boatwright. They got a lot of guys coming back. A lot of people forget Duke defector, Derek Thornton, transferred there. Going to be their point guard. They got a guy to get the ball into the problem is they couldn't make entry passes, and Andy Enfield has all these athletes, but there was no way to like actually run.
He didn't have the Brett Comer from Florida Gulf Coast throwing like the alley oops over his shoulder to the dude to dunk. Yeah,
Derek Thornton this year. He's going to be doing
Derek
that.
Thornton's going to be the guy. They have like one coach over that side. He's like, so here's how we do these passes. I want you to take a dribble and just like kind of chuck it over your.
They just play video, and then can we talk about Andy Enfield and just like I keep thinking about these coaches that were stars at a certain time, but then they sort of faded, and I want to bring them back into the spotlight. He's one of those guys at Florida Gulf Coast. I mean,
I'll be honest. When he was hired at USC, I thought it was a terrible decision. I think so many athletic directors get so excited when guys win like one tournament game,
of course,
at tiny schools, and they just overstep their bounds with the
well, it's the Anthony
process.
Grant thing, right?
Yeah,
it's like you go from VCU and then we're going to bring you to Alabama, and then
dude, the best example is Todd Licklider, You don't even know who he is. He was at Butler. He went to the Sweet 16. Iowa hired him, and just talk to an Iowa fan. Just mention Todd Lickliter, an Iowa fan. He won like 2 games at Butler in the tournament, and then got like a 9-year contract at Iowa.
And that's why Stevens came in, right?
Yeah. So
see, there you go.
So USC returns. The little note. This is a little fun. Just having a little fun with this. They bring back all 6 starters, is what I said. Yeah, it's a little like. Come on, Mark. There's only 5 starters. What are you doing there? I know there's only 5 starters, Tate. I'm just trying to have some fun with it. They have like 6 guys who could start. I think they actually did have 6 guys who kind of started various games. Also, Charles O'Bannon Jr. is 5-star. Was he McDonald's All-American? Everyone recruits McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, exactly.
If any
the best
recruiter's
thing
worth
about
bringing
McDonald's All-Americans is that you can just say any like
no one cares.
everyone that's either a disappointment or a success. It's like he was a McDonald's All-American.
McDonald's All-American. Any recruit that I know, if I know your name, you're probably McDonald's All-American. So I'm going to go ahead and say he was. I've never seen him play again. I pride myself on not knowing anything about these guys, but I will say his uncle Ed, thank you so much.
1995.
He made me $3,000 with that lawsuit, and I swear to God, I got $3,000 from that. So,
are you kidding me?
I swear to God.
Would you get like a check in the mail from the NCAA?
So what happened was, the story's this. It was a class action lawsuit, and I got the mail. I got like the form to fill out, and I was about to call my teammates to say, like, did you get this form too? But my brother was over at the time, and he was like, do you know what a class action lawsuit is? I said, I have no idea what a class action lawsuit is.
So the more people you bring in, the less the pot is.
Yeah, the more people that claim it, you split the pot up.
Exactly.
So I was like, well, shit, I'm not going to call my teammates. So I didn't call anybody.
Evan Turner's like sitting there waiting for the call.
I imagine what happened is like all these basketball players like just didn't bother filling it out. And so when it came time to dig up the pot, a walk-on at Ohio State made like $3,000. Cheers.
What'd you do with that $3,000?
Where's that O'Bannon? Thank you so much. I don't even know, dude. I probably
that's more money than I've made.
I probably
I don't even know. That's amazing.
You know what I did? I put it in savings, and I paid taxes to the United States government.
Oh
like a responsible.
Can't stand this upstanding gentleman in front of me.
So number 19,
can I before we move on? Can I just say Tony Bland? The story of Tony Bland is going to be a great story one day. Yeah. He's the Tony Montana of college basketball with USC.
Yep.
The FBI. We know your playbook. That was the quotes. Tony Bland's playbook.
Yeah, Tony Bland's the guy who got arrested by the FBI from USC.
Keyshawn Johnson, one of his good friends, Keyshawn and him have always gone back.
This is sad for USC. It's sad to see. Like
it's going to be a great season of basketball. They're probably going to make the tournament. They're probably going to make a deep run, and then like all the bad stuff's going to come back after. Yeah. So just enjoy it for now.
Number 19. Speaking of guys being ineligible and all that.
Jesus, that was 3 baggers in a row.
We have Alabama. We originally put Alabama here when we were planning. And then the news broke that Colin Sexton, their big recruit, is ineligible.
McDonald's All-American.
McDonald's All-American is probably out for the year. Who knows? Who the heck knows? Is he going to come back? Who knows? I don't know.
So basically right now as we stand, they said that they're trying to find a timely reinstatement. So I think what happens if you're Avery Johnson and you're Alabama, the way that you get someone reinstated is, this is a novel idea, is by being good. So if they are good without Colin Sexton and like the NCAA sees that and they know that Alabama can make them some money, he's going to come back. Yeah. If not, like Brian Bowen's going to play for Louisville right now because he's going to help that team out. And if that happens, then Sexton will probably get reinstated.
I don't understand this
at all.
How Brian Bowen is playing for Louisville and Sexton is not. I don't get it.
I think the whole thing is,
but I also don't know the details, so I should probably throw that disclaimer in there too.
As long as you can say you had no idea.
Yeah, I had
no
idea.
Okay.
I had no idea.
Like you right now, it's like I have no idea.
I had no, like Rick Pitino just like pops like Rick Pitino when he opens his front door to like leave the house for the day. He just like the first word he just opens the door. He's like, I had no idea, and then he doesn't know if anybody's standing out there waiting on him. It's just like a preemptive. I had no idea what's going on. Sorry, guys.
If you want to be entertained by Rick Pitino quotes, go back to 2015 when the scandal, the first scandal that they had there broke out, and he said that he wasn't going to fight it because he was 63, and if he was 33, he would fight it because he knew it was wrong and it had nothing to do with him. Yeah. At 65. Things must have really changed.
Things
I don't know what happened.
So we had Alabama because it was basically Colin Sexton and Avery Johnson. I love Avery Johnson. We love like the Patrick Ewings, Avery Johnson, like the guys who played in the NBA and go and coach, and you're not really sure why they're coaching because they don't really seem to. It doesn't really seem to be their thing. But
if you went up to a random person in the street and you said, "Where's Avery Johnson right now?" they would just say, "I don't know." Like maybe like at home, like chilling.
Although I guess I want to walk back my comment. Like Avery Johnson was an actual coach. He took the Mavericks to the finals in 2006 Which
No, Avery Johnson is a great coach.
yeah, he's a great
player.
coach. Yeah. I didn't mean to lump him in like that. I'm saying like the story is interesting
Patrick
to me.
Ewing
when guys,
just got so excited that he was in the same class as Avery Johnson.
I bet like this is the story of like you got like Chris Mullen at St. John and Patrick Ewing, like those guys that are like, well, now what I do with my career? And it's like, hey, you can make like $1.5 million a year if you just got a coach. You're like, done, I'll do it. And they didn't really give it much thought other than that. Avery Johnson gave it thought. He's actually a decent coach.
To DeSoto, Texas, to recruit a kid tomorrow night. What?
Yeah.
I just want to say, just for Alabama in general, I think this would be the most fun Alabama team to watch. I mean, I know Sexton is the main guy, but their whole team, I watched like a little scrimmage of them. Like they look like they're running up. It looks like an NBA team almost.
Do they still have the Relaford?
No.
He's been gone for like 5 years.
Yeah.
They wear the double wristband. Did he wear the double wristbands or was it his brother on Kansas?
I think it was his brother. His brother on Kansas did.
I love the Relaford
Well,
family.
you know why? Because he had to show that Adidas logo.
Yeah.
As much as you can.
Do we have another Relaford in the pipeline? I love those guys. They were fun. So the question was like, is Colin Sexton, is he the best recruit since who? I don't know. You just kind of like, that's always the thing. Whenever these programs like get a good guy and they haven't gotten a big guy in a long while, you're like, he's the best since.
Well, it's usually someone bad.
It's
like
usually,
he's the best recruit since Damian Wilkins.
Yeah.
It's like what? It's like Damian Wilkins. Like,
what did Damian Wilkins do to you? Calm down.
Oh, I like
Calm
Damian
down.
Wilkins. I'm sorry.
All right, so number 18, we have the Xavier Musketeers, and we put a lot of thought behind this. We're just going to spoiler it. We have Cincinnati at 17 and Xavier at 18. And the reason why is because Cincinnati and Xavier are always ranked between like 12 and 22 at all times throughout every season.
Go look at every poll.
If you go back to every poll, you could pull the 1973 January 8th poll.
Sporting News.
And Cincinnati's ranked 16th, Xavier's 21st.
Yes.
I guarantee it.
It's unbelievable.
I don't understand how it happens.
We tried to do some research to fact check it, and we didn't even have to because we knew it was true.
We know it's true. So Xavier, we have at 18. My question to you as an Ohio guy, Tate, I am very much plugged into the Ohio sports scene. Hashtag save the crew. Do you care about the Cincinnati Xavier basketball rivalry?
Yes, I would
really?
say.
I was hoping you wouldn't. I was hoping. I'll be honest. Let me talk first.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would say no because there's this thing. I wrote about this on Grantland when I was there a few years ago about the Cincinnati Xavier rivalry and how the people there like love that no one cares about the rivalry. They kind of like it's like a point of pride that like this is like our city.
That's
thing.
so Ohio for that to be like a rallying call that no one cares.
They would
about
almost
you.
rather. Yeah.
That's what you guys
is.
thrive on. It's
Yeah,
like no one
it
cares
is.
about Cleveland, so therefore we love it.
Hold on. So first of all, Cincinnati is not Ohio. It's Cincinnati. Cincinnati's like
Cincinnati
its
is
own
on the
state.
river. It's basically in Kentucky at this
Yeah,
point.
but like Kentucky, they don't even want to be Kentucky either. They just want to be Cincinnati. Like they just want this to be like their own thing.
It's like a border
but you
city.
do care. So do you actually watch the games, or are you just saying
I do
is
watch
this lip
the games.
service?
No, I do watch the games. You know what? No, it came full circle in my whole life when it happened. I watched the game, the Zip 'em Up game. I was watching that live, and I was like, "This is why I watched this freaking game finally." But I care way more about Richmond VCU just because it's closer to me as a kid. So I would watch that game. It was very similar.
That's another great rivalry of like
No one cares.
we don't care that no one cares because we care.
Yeah,
that's
and
another
people
great
in
example
Richmond,
of
like
that.
people
Yeah.
all go to that and they have a good time.
So the one little note I had about this. So first of all, Xavier, Trayvon Blewett's back.
Yep.
Xavier went to they went to the Elite Eight last year.
Yep. Chris Mack.
They lost to Gonzaga, right? Yeah, because they beat Arizona
Yeah, Chris
They
Mack
beat
got
the-
revenge.
on
And
Sean Miller.
yeah.
They were like an 11 seed, weren't? No,
Yeah,
weren't
they
that.
were.
Were they an 11
They
seed?
were 11 seed.
So yeah, Elite Eight last year. They bring back. They lost like Sumner. Who else?
They
did
got
they lose?
Blewett
they lost.
back.
They lost their
Yeah.
big guy like Gaston.
Yeah,
or however you say his name.
yeah.
But Blewett's back. That's all that really matters. JP Sleeves is back. Our guy.
Yeah, so Blewett right now is, I think, hurt. Like, he hasn't officially healthy yet, but, like, JP McCura has basically been their best player in all the scrimmages. We should talk about this. They all do these secret scrimmages where, like, the teams decide if they want to leak the final score or the stats.
Yeah.
So they only leak the stats of, like, if JP
If they
McCura
win,
has
if
19
he plays
points,
well.
they leak it, but if he has 6, they don't. So you can always see, like, who's playing well and who's not playing well by who's, like, got their numbers leaked out to everyone.
You know what's funny about that is I'm pretty sure Pitt played Villanova in a secret scrimmage and nothing got leaked.
And you know,
How
that's
much
probably Jay Wright being a good man that he is.
Kevin
and it's
Stallings is like, Jay, we cannot really we lost by 4,000. I cannot let this happen. You cannot release this.
we didn't score. We can't. Please don't.
I was thinking of at the end of the season. At the end of the season, as a pay-per-view event, I want JP Sleeves, JP McCura, and Matt. Do you know Matt McQuaid on Michigan State? It's okay if you say no. I want a video of them like just trying to showing people how to fall down. Like those two guys, I just want to see like them have a competition of some sort where they.
There's no way McQuaid plays this year, right?
Where they practice falling down because like those two guys, there's just something about it. They're not like diving on the floor for loose balls. They're just sort of like falling down. And
Teams like to knock them around.
I like watching those guys fall down.
I think they're there to draw fouls.
Did you know that? So I was talking to Chris Holtman. Not to brag, I'm plugged into the Ohio State basketball scene. He's trying to get an Ohio 4-way tournament going. He's trying to get like Indiana does with Butler, Notre Dame, IU, and Purdue. Yeah. He's trying to get a
like
Xavier, Cincinnati, Dayton, and Ohio State thing. But the problem is like the Cincinnati schools don't want to come to Columbus, and it's got to be in Columbus. It's got to be.
Why does it have to be in Columbus?
Because it's the state capital. It's the middle of the state. Why would it not be in Columbus?
Ohio State is so much like NC State, just like playing the capital card. Like, we don't need that.
Well, it's got 1 million. It's the biggest city.
It doesn't matter.
Get out
No
of
one
here.
cares.
Why are we having Cincinnati? Cincinnati's not Ohio. We've established that. If you're doing an Ohio thing, you got to. This is ridiculous. Speaking of Cincinnati, let's move on to number 17, the perpetually 17th ranked Cincinnati Bearcats, who are actually not 17th ranked right now, but whatever. I like this team.
I do
This
too.
team, they are going to be good on offense this year. That is how you know that they actually have a good team.
Yep.
Because Mick Cronin's strategy every year is like he knows he's going to have a great defense, and then he hopes that like 1 or 2 guys can get hot on offense.
It's basically the first to 70 for them.
And then inevitably,
If they score 70, they're going to win. If they don't, they're going to lose.
like it's not a coincidence that the best year that Cronin had was when Sean Kilpatrick was there, and he could like actually carry the offense every single
Great
night.
Brooklyn net.
Yeah.
Sean
Yeah.
Kilpatrick.
Yeah, so but this team they don't need 1 or 2 guys. You got Gary Clark,
Got
he's
Kyle
great.
Washington.
You got the dude where's he from? Sacred Heart, the transfer?
Yeah, Kane Broom.
That's a great name. That's a
Come
great
on.
name. Kane Broom.
Yeah. You talking about, I'm going to watch that guy score. This is the highest ranking they've had since 1999. So that was the year
Kenyon
when
Martin year.
Kenyon Martin was there. So maybe this is the year that they
Don't
do
bring
it.
it up, dude. Don't bring it up.
Oh, yeah. I
Don't
probably
bring it
just
up.
drinks them.
Don't
Sorry,
bring it up.
Nick.
Don't bring up what happened at the end of the year. There's still a sore subject around Cincinnati.
You think so?
And it's still a sore subject.
God.
And the way Huggins got fired.
Yeah,
He got
the
traded.
Huggins part
that's
is
a sore
tough.
subject too.
Yeah.
So Cincinnati's
Bear.
going to be good at offense. Actually, they're going to have a good team. I'm curious to see like what happens when Mick Cronin realizes like he's trading offense for a little bit of defense, and like the defense isn't quite as good, and then he's probably going to lose his mind and do his thing.
Let's hope he
like,
loses his mind.
Who does his like underbite thing, and then Ted Valentine chests him. You remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that one? Like, Ted Valentine stepped to him, and they did like the chest thing, and Cronin was like looking at Ted Valentine's. There's like his face right in his tits. That was awesome.
I love Mick Cronin. I think it's weird that he and Chris Mack look so much alike. It's like a taller version of the other one. But other than that, I really like the rivalry.
Number 16, we're moving right along. The Purdue Boilermakers.
So can you tell me about the Purdue team? This is your Indiana
You know nothing
basketball.
about Purdue?
I do know a lot about them. I mean, obviously Isaac Haas, one of my favorites.
Don't bullshit me. You don't know anything about Purdue.
I love Isaac Haas.
It's okay to say no.
I just like 2 big guys. I just like 2 big guys, and then a lot of people shooting threes, and that's what their team is. I don't even know who the guys
Like
are
2
shooting
big-
threes.
yeah.
It's basically like, all right, Swanigan and Haas are going to run down the floor.
I got a
and get
name for you that
rebounds.
you'll love. Carson Edwards.
Yeah.
He is
I remember that name.
an erratic shoot first point guard, and
Yes.
we love those. We only love those when they're on good teams, and Purdue's going to be a good team. He can like score. He's good enough to like score like 40 points on any given night. But
Yeah.
he's also good enough to have like 8 turnovers and go 1 for 12. Those guys are awesome. We love guys like that. Vince Edwards, you know him?
Yeah.
The wing,
Of course.
the defensive stopper, the versatile guy. Dakota Mathias, he's actually Dakota. You don't know who Dakota Mathias is, dude. You're not familiar with him.
No. Who was that?
Dakota
I
Mathias.
really like his name.
He
I have a list of names that I
so
really like.
he has a reputation as a shooter because he can shoot well, and he's
Yeah.
a white dude. But he's actually like kind of got the Chris Kramer thing going, where he's
Okay.
like a lockdown defender. But no one really. He got stuck with like the shooter label first, and then he kind of has like become the defender. And then now we're not really sure: is he a defender? Is he a shooter? What is he? Dare I say he's both? I don't really know.
I don't know if you can be both. That's a rule.
Yeah, that's really confusing. Or, no, unless you're a 3 and D guy. Yeah,
Unless
you
you're
can be a 3
Trevor
and D.
Ariza.
You can
That's
be
the
a
only
3 and D
way.
guy. You just stand in the corner, but he's like better than just a stand in the corner shooter, if that makes sense. I don't know. I like Purdue a lot. Like they went to they did the thing this year where they were the World University Games.
Yeah.
They lost to I want to say Lithuania in the championship game.
Lithuania is really good.
Which I was cheering for Purdue because they have 0 national titles, so that would have been awesome if they would have won an international title.
That would be
before
so
winning
great. So it would be a 0 and a 1.
Yeah, it's
and
like
then
we've
no one
never
else
won
would
a
have that
national-
category.
We've never won a national title, but we have won an international title. Ryan Klein's back.
Nice.
Ryan Klein, he last summer passed out in his car and was like arrested for like DUI or something, and was
I remember that whole
The
story.
cops like
Yeah.
found him passed out in his car. And
Yeah.
then, that was cool. So good for him. He's back.
Welcome back,
And
Ryan.
then Matt Painter was like, "We cannot tolerate this on my program. You are going to sit out the exhibition game, and you're
And
gonna
we'll see you for
we'll see
game
you
2. We'll see you soon, Ryan.
So the other note I have on here about Purdue, they do not host IU this season, and that is a travesty. And
I don't understand what the
I
Indiana
think Jim
basketball-
Delaney's figuring this out, where he's trying to fix the scheduling where you can like We're going to have some protected rivalries, but that pisses me off that they don't play twice a year. Can you imagine that? Like Duke and Carolina only playing once a year? Let me put it in terms you understand, Tate. What if Duke and Carolina only played once a year, and you had to play at
Indiana is
at
more
Duke
like Wake Forest, North Carolina, and they do play once a year, so it does make sense. Maybe Jim Delaney's onto something.
We're gonna edit that out.
Yeah, that's about right. Next up, we have St. Mary's, your favorite team, Jock Landell.
Jock Landell, the Australians. My question is this:
Yes,
Randy Bennett. So we're talking about the recruiting, the FBI probes, the unfair recruiting advantage these coaches have. Do you think Randy Bennett has something cooking with Australian guys, or do you think these Australian guys are just willingly choosing to come play college basketball in Moraga, California?
I think that they think the school is in Australia because they see the Gaels, and that's how they say it, like, in Australian terms. So they think it's a school, and then they get confused. Like, now you're flying 25 hours to California.
How many of these guys have committed to St. Mary's without ever seeing the campus?
Every one of them. Every single one of them. I think what he did, so he used to be at Pepperdine with Lorenzo Romar. I think he takes a picture of Malibu and Pepperdine and he just sends it over there to Australia. He's like, hey, that looks pretty nice.
Yeah, we're in California.
I'll go over there.
I'll go over there.
I'll go over to California. That's literally what happened with Matthew Dellavedova. Now he has a shoe contract and he played in the finals Mills, and he won a title.
They've had some players out there. St. Mary's. So St. Mary's is the favorite. It depends on who you ask, I guess. I think some people like Gonzaga, but I think they're the favorite to win the West Coast Conference.
That's a great rivalry. San Francisco Dons versus the Gaels. The Gaels versus the Dons.
I don't know what either of those words mean, so
neither do I. But it's a great rivalry just because of that.
Isn't a Don like a
Don Dada? Yeah,
that's what a mob boss or something.
Exactly. Welcome to San Francisco.
Is it a Gael like a strong win?
How do you think they got Bill Russell? Now we know the Dons made it happen.
Isn't a Gael like I thought a Gael was like a strong win and or an Irish thing. Where like I'm Gaelic something or other.
I think it is an Irish thing, but all I know is that everyone
Irish, Australian, whatever, it's all the same.
Every St. Mary's I know is a girls' school, and I don't know how they've got it worked out.
So St. Mary's lost Joe Rahan, I think is his name.
Yes.
They replaced him with Colin Neal, who started at New Mexico. Shout out to the one guy listening who's a New Mexico fan and always bothers us about New Mexico stuff. Starts in New Mexico, plays for his dad, transfers to Ole Miss, and now he's at St. Mary's. I personally love guys who play at 3 teams in a college career. Those are my favorite kind of guys. That if you can find a way to fit 3 college basketball teams into your career,
you know who's going to do that next? Carlton Bragg.
Ooh, Carlton Bragg.
I feel like he's next up. I feel like he's one of those guys.
That'd be awesome. So, so St. Mary's pretty much, they don't really bring everybody back, but they got like the whole, the meat and potatoes back, so to speak. And their schedule is pretty bad. They really might go undefeated, Tate.
They lost 5 times last year. 3 of those times were to Gonzaga, who went to the national championship game.
And now Gonzaga, like their entire team was gutted.
Except for Jonathan Williams.
St. Mary's has, as of today, have 0 ranked teams on their schedule other than Gonzaga.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're going to go undefeated. Obviously, that would be very, very difficult to do, especially in that conference. Like going to BYU and like Utah State is actually harder than it probably seems. But they're my pick for if there's one. They're my pick for the last undefeated team. Let's put it that way.
And Hermanson, he is the one wearing the.
Hermanson's the one where I got.
Yes.
I wasn't around. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I know my St. Mary stuff though.
I
said those names. You looked at me like, who the hell are those
I'm thoroughly enthralled. I've seen Jock play. I mean, I've seen them play. Just like Jock's the only name that stuck out to me, and I'm gonna call him Jock Strap all season. So it's gonna be fun.
All right, we have 4 teams left. Tate.
Yeah, number 14. The North Carolina Tar Heels, the defending national champions, the 6-time national champions.
Are you concerned about them going to the NIT this year?
Not at all.
Are you concerned about this being 2010? You said the same thing in 2010 when
they were ranked.
I knew you in 2010. You were like 12 years old, and you said, "I'll never forget."
Spry freshman at North Carolina.
They were ranked. They were preseason ranked 6th in 2010.
Yeah,
that's higher than they're ranked now.
Yeah, but they don't have this cancer named Larry Drew. And
sorry, what?
Yeah.
Larry Drew, the guy who set the UCLA, who immediately goes to UCLA and sets like the Pac-12 record for assists.
Or the Ware twins, who also went to UCLA and didn't set any records other than missed jump shots.
So my questions to you are this: we have North Carolina loses like their entire team. They lose Justin Jackson, who was
Sacramento
ACC
Kings,
Player of the Year.
16 points.
You lose Kennedy Meeks. You lose Isaiah Hicks. You lose. Who else? Nate Britt. Should I keep going? Is there anybody else?
That's a great list.
Who did I miss? Tony Bradley.
Yeah.
Also lose him.
Utah
You
Jazz,
replace him with
pick.
the 20th best recruiting class in the country and a guy who averaged 12 points a game for like the worst Pitt team of all time last year.
Cam Johnson.
Yeah. He only averaged 12 points a game.
Kevin Stallings tried to stop.
He had no teammates and he averaged 12 points a game. You're telling me that those guys can replace like what was lost? and they're going to be fine.
Well, they're not going to win a national championship, but I think what happens is you have Joel Berry, who's getting no respect. He's like basically on the third team
made
of
of
every
glass,
single list.
who is hurt every other week. Okay, go on.
Because he's so competitive. He cares so much about the game.
He got hurt playing video games. Go ahead.
Yeah, punching a wall because he's just too competitive. He can't keep it in the field. We got Theo Pinson,
who can't shoot,
homegrown, great point guard,
literally cannot shoot. Like
going to be so good.
Yeah.
Cam Johnson is going to average like 15 points a game for
Again,
us.
couldn't even average 15 points a game when he was the only player on Pitt. Go ahead.
13.9. And then we're going to have Seventh Woods coming off the bench. Going to be great.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. Look him up. He's got this great mixtape that a lot of people like. And then we got Jalik Felton, Raymond Felton's nephew.
Okay.
Which is going to be great.
Yeah.
5-star.
So you have
Some people are saying he's the next Dennis Smith.
So you have basketball players with names. That sounds good. I'm convinced. Yeah, North Carolina definitely not going to the NIT.
Definitely not going to the NIT. They're going to be great. I'm really excited for them. I don't even like to talk about North Carolina's podcast because of the negativity. So let's move on. Baylor. Yeah, Titus, you know what the good thing that happened was, though? The NCAA
You got away with murder.
Yeah. We got away with murder. We already talked about that for people that didn't hear it. But we got away with that. There's no cloud over the program right now.
Free and clear.
Zion Williamson. When Zion Williamson commits, I'm going to have a whole show where I'm just talking about how great his dunks are. I'm going to break them all down.
I'm really happy that the NIT title banner you win this year is not going to be in jeopardy.
We don't win those banners. Stuff. That's Virginia. Let's keep it moving. Let's talk about Baylor. I want to talk about Scott Drew.
We're back on the Big 12 team that we left out.
Yes.
Scott Drew is here.
This was the tease. We set this whole thing up that we wanted to figure out this whole time, is Scott Drew a good coach?
Scott Drew, I think he proved it last year by when he got Baylor all the way to rank number 1 in the country.
Yeah.
He proved he was a good coach. And then he lost by 21 at West Virginia immediately after that.
And they were unranked, right, to start the season? So they just completely came out of nowhere. They went to Nassau to that Atlantis tournament.
It's amazing.
Blew everybody out.
Scott Drew has never won the Big 12. He has what has he done? He's gone to 2 Elite Eights, though.
He's got 8 NCAA tournaments in 11 seasons.
Yeah.
And they had like 2 before at the program before he got there. So Scott Drew, that would qualify as good coach qualities, but we're still just not sure. The mystery's still out there.
They made the Sweet 16 last year, lost to South Carolina by 20.
Yeah.
This is just the theme of Scott Drew's life, that his coaching career, that as soon as he does something good, he immediately, for every what's the Drew principle of motion, like for every reaction, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Yeah.
What the hell am I saying? I don't know.
That's pretty good, though.
Is that
That's
close?
exactly what happens with Scott Drew.
You're the nerd of this outfit. Is that close?
No, that was perfect. That was really good.
That's pretty much what happens. Is like every time he gets ranked number 1, then immediately lose by 21 at West Virginia. You make the Sweet 16.
I think it's always weird that he always plays at West Virginia every single time he gets to number 1. It's like it sets up himself. He's the longest tenured coach in the Big 12, which I think is a good trivia question.
Oh, is he? Is he longer than Bill Self?
Same year.
I wonder
2003, 2004. He was hired first.
Oh, so he is this.
Because Roy left to go to North Carolina, and then Bill Self came from Illinois.
So they lost Jonathan Motley, who was like, for a second there, we thought he might win National Player of the Year, and then they lose Ish Wainwright, like the big dude who just like set screens, and they lose Al Freeman. They do have LeConte back,
the best Belgian basketball player I think ever.
Isn't there? There are a couple, aren't there?
I mean, there are a few, but we're just going to go ahead and give it to him. Yeah, okay. I don't know anyone from Belgium.
LeConte, and then Lual Achuil Jr., I still can't say his name, a year later, who last year at this time I said was going to win Big 12 Player of the Year. He did not.
No.
Frank Mason did. However,
and
it's a new year.
Player of the Year.
However,
double entendre there.
It is a new year. So Lual Achuil averages 2.5 blocks. So he had the game last year where he had 8 points, 14 rebounds, and 7 block shots against Oregon. I got excited. I said he was going to win National Player of the Year or Big 12 Player of the Year, whatever it was. He didn't do that, but he's back. He's a versatile guy. He shoots threes, I think.
He does. So, I think they're going to be good. I just think that it's going to be the typical Baylor season where now that they are on the radar for everyone, they're going to really struggle early, and then somehow they're going to figure it out in the middle, and then they're going to lose in the tournament.
They're going to finish fourth. They're going to finish fourth in the Big 12 or third or something. They're going to beat they're not going to beat Kansas, but they will beat West Virginia at home when West Virginia's ranked like 9th.
Yeah.
And then that's going to, that's just a typical Baylor thing. They'll win a game in the tournament and lose by 30, and that'll be it. And we'll be right back at square one trying to figure out, was that a good year for Baylor? We don't really know.
And is Scott Drew a good coach? We'll talk about a good coach for real, and that's Michigan, right, with John Beilein.
John Beilein. We love it. We have Michigan
Actually a
12.
good coach.
Again, we don't think Michigan's the 12th best team in the country, but Michigan is so fun to watch. They have the best offense like pretty much every year. They lost a ton of guys, though. I'm really concerned about that. They lose Derek Walton.
Jr.
They lost DJ Wilson. They
to
lose
the Bucks.
Zach Irvin, which like for 99% of last season would have been a blessing. And then
Most
suddenly
minutes played in college basketball last season.
Was he really?
Zach Irvin, yeah.
Every Michigan fan hated Zach Irvin until March, and then suddenly he like became good, and they're like, "We love Zach Irvin."
That was my favorite thing about him. They all complained about him, and then it just completely flipped.
Like,
Like, he's our guy.
He's always been our guy.
Irvin.
They got a transfer from Ohio, Jerron Simmons.
Yeah.
This guy who I've seen him play one time in my life. It was when I went to OU to watch Marcus Keene from Central Michigan play at Ohio.
That was last year, right?
Last year.
Yep.
Jerron Simmons goes for 39-9 against Central Michigan, and they lost because Marcus Keene had like 4,000 points, and just destroyed them. But Jerron Simmons is really, really good. I think he's going to be good for Michigan.
And they got the other guy. They got another transfer, Charles Matthews from Kentucky.
Oh, yeah, the Kentucky guy. That's right. Yeah.
So they got two guys they're going to
You know he's good because he's from Kentucky.
And he played, and he got to practice all last year. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Like whenever it's a Duke guy or Kentucky guy that transfers and they get a whole year of practice, like Chase Jeter last year or Derek Thornton, people just lose their mind. Kyle Wiltshire with Gonzaga.
Yeah, they bring back your boy Wagner too.
Yeah, Moritz Wagner.
He's
going to be good. He had one great game. Which, and a lot of people thought that he was the one that should have stayed in the draft and not Wilson. Everyone was like, I think Wilson.
I misremembered what happened last March for Michigan because I when we were researching this, I was like, yeah, Wagner, he's like averaging 30 in the tournament, wasn't he? And like, he had one good game against Louisville. And
then it was pretty much like back to normal.
Yeah, and then the next game he was feeling himself too much.
Yeah, and then he just like went back to normal.
He started feeling himself too much, and it went back to normal. But Michigan is always fun to watch. They're going to run up and down. They're going to shoot threes. They have Duncan Robinson too. He's a friend of the program.
Yep.
We love him. Former Division III guy. I think he's a senior this year.
We hope
they're going to score a ton of points. They're probably not going to be as good this year. The Big Ten in general is like not that great. But they're going to be fun to watch, and we're going to keep our eye on them.
And they got a top 10 class for next year, 2018. They just signed today, so they'll be back.
All right, our last team, and we will wrap this up. The Missouri Tigers. The basically fits the mold of interesting coach, one interesting player. Do we care about anything else? Do we need to?
So the interesting player is Michael Porter Jr., who was the number one player in the country until Marvin Bagley reclassed, and now everyone thinks he's the number one player in the country, but I'm not really sure about that. The interesting thing is, one of my favorite things is top recruits and their dads getting a job there, right? So look at Michael Beasley in Kansas State when his dad gets a job there as an assistant. So Michael Porter Jr. is a little different, and I mean this in the best way possible. So his dad, Michael Sr., obviously is an assistant coach in Missouri. His brother, John Tate, they get him to reclass and go to Missouri. So now they have both Porter brothers.
Reclassifying is my favorite thing in college basketball.
It makes no sense.
I'm just going to skip my senior year of high school.
I don't care. I'll figure it out. But now I have all the academics that I need to get in school. But it's not just them. On the women's side, he has his sister, Bree, and Sierra, that are playing for the coach, Robin Pingleton, and the sister of his mother, Lisa. So he has literally the entire Porter family runs the basketball program at Missouri.
In Missouri?
It's like a freaking, I don't even know. It's like the mafia. I don't understand how everyone in the family plays or either coaches at Missouri. But if you're a Porter, you're gonna have a great time this year.
It's all on the up and up, dude.
It's insane.
Nothing sounds wrong about that to me. Nothing sounds bad to me.
Did a Porter found Missouri? I don't know. It's
so
crazy.
Give me your Quanzo Martin thoughts.
I loved Quanzo at Missouri State. For people don't know that he went back to. Everyone thought it was weird that he left Cal, right? Everyone's like, "Why would you leave the Cal job to go to Missouri?" It was like he was at Missouri State, and that's how he really blew up. And so he goes to Missouri, which is the big primo job in Missouri. Quanzo, we know, knows how to get people places, and Ivan Rabb, Jaylen Brown. You go down the list of all these guys. And that's what Quanzo is. I've always enjoyed Quanzo because I know that he knows how to get somewhere where they're going. Mm-hmm. He knows where the bags are.
He knows where the bags are.
Yeah.
He does know where the bags are.
This man has duffels for days. And
he's a fan of duffel bags for sure.
And I'm a big fan of him. And I've always liked Quanzo. And I don't know how great of a coach he'll be with this team, but I'm excited to see. I know he's going to try harder than Johnny Jones with Ben Simmons at LSU. I know that.
So I've been indifferent. I was indifferent on Quanzo Martin when he was at Tennessee until 2014 when he, in the Sweet 16, almost beat Michigan, almost went to the Elite Eight, and all of that year, Tennessee fans wanted him fired. They were like, we hate this guy. He needs to be fired immediately. Then he goes on an improbable Sweet 16 run, almost makes the Elite Eight. Mm-hmm. All the Tennessee fans are like, never mind, we love you. please stick around. And he just throws up double middle fingers like, nope. See ya, deuces.
Do you remember how mad they were that he wore an orange jacket? They're like, that's Bruce's thing.
Yeah.
That's Bruce Pearl's thing. It's like Bruce got in trouble with the NCAA. I don't know if you should be defending his jacket.
I wonder what the difference between Kwanzaa and Bruce was.
Welcome to Tennessee.
I had this other note on Kwanzaa. Do you realize that at Purdue, when he was playing at Purdue, he was on the like the three-peat teams is what it's like the greatest history period of Purdue basketball ever when they in the
He was
90s.
on those teams. I knew that was his alma mater because that's what everyone. That was.
He was like the captain. He was like the.
He
was like the. So he goes 0 for 7 in his first 2 seasons from the 3-point line at Purdue.
Yeah.
As a freshman and sophomore, 0 for 7 combined. Then as a junior, he goes 45%. He hits 88 threes his junior year.
What?
Out of nowhere.
Wait, what?
And then as a senior, he hits 91 and shoots 47% from the 3-point line. He was 0 for 7. And then overnight, he goes 88 for 196 from the 3-point line.
Did he get a new coach?
No, it was Gene Katie. It was always the comb over was always there. And that's Kwanzaa Martin.
Do you think he was just getting blocked with
that
layups
insane?
and Katie was just like, shoot the damn ball? Like, I'm tired of watching this.
It was like the rookie of the year situation where he figured out he could throw the fastball 100 miles an hour. It's like Kwanzaa Martin, like the ball
He's
just
been
like kind of
throwing a
bounced
knuckleball all this time.
Yeah, he's just been like kind of shooting layups, and then at one point he's like just kind of looked at the ball and was like, I'm gonna try to shoot a 3, and just like swished it. And he's like, oh my god, I can do this. I'm really good at this, and then just started shooting 3s more often. So, Missouri. Not going to be good. Do you feel like there's like a stench from like the Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz thing that's like bleeding over to this where it
with
feels
Porter,
like,
and I think that Porter could actually make them really good. Like I think that in the SEC East, especially, like they could definitely make some noise. Like they could win the SEC East, be better. Like say Florida takes a step back, they step up. Georgia's not as good as people think they may be, and Missouri is the talk of the town. I think then people will be back on the he's the best player in the class. He's going to make them good because Simmons and Fultz back to back have pretty much let everyone down. And now Porter's going to get the stench of that where no one's going to care. It's like, oh, we don't want to hear about this guy again. Meanwhile, he's like, what did I do to you guys? I didn't do anything. Meanwhile, if you say anything bad about him, his whole family's there to attack you. I would never go to a press conference.
So that's number 25 through 11. We will be back tomorrow with our top 10. Get excited for that. We'll be back all season though. 2 podcasts a week, 1 shining podcast. We are here for this. We're excited. Tate Frazier's excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm
so
excited.
ready. I'm going to keep talking about North Carolina. I know I didn't get enough shots in today, but I'm going to keep bringing them up. Once I get to Duke, it'll be fun.
I have a feeling you'll get your shots in overtime. Yeah. This is you preemptively know that North Carolina is not going to be good this year, so you're trying to like distance yourself from that and attach yourself to Duke and just like make this like a Duke hatred year rather than a North Carolina love year. I see what you're doing, Tate. It's cool. It's fine. So we'll be back tomorrow with our top 10. In the meantime, thank you for listening and save the crew.